CBC meteorologist Johanna Wagstaffe is in Vancouver. She's here now to talk about this cold snap. So, Johanna, let's start with this term, the so-called bomb cyclone. Is that actually an official meteorological term?
Dan, believe it or not, weather bomb is an official meteorological term. Bombogenesis is what we call it when a low pressure system strengthens so rapidly in a short amount of time. The central pressure of the storm has to drop 24 millibars in 24 hours for it to be considered a weather bomb. And that's exactly what this storm is doing. It's going to bomb out over the next couple of days as it encounters that cold air across Canada just before it hits the East Coast. But as you mentioned, we're already seeing major impacts down south. This is the current satellite and radar. We've got snow moving out of Georgia into the Carolinas, some kind of winter weather warning from southern Florida all the way up the East Coast into Maine associated with this same storm system, and hasn't even really begun to tap into the air we're seeing to the north. So yeah, this is going to be a big impact storm, especially for Atlantic Canada. Weather warnings in place for the entire eastern seaboard, winter storm warnings, because we're not only getting heavy snow, we could be talking 20 to 40 centimeters over the next couple of days, if not more for some areas, but hurricane force winds will lead to whiteout conditions and possibly widespread power outages. Just want to take you through that storm really quickly. So here it is sliding up the East Coast. It's going to merge with that cold air moving from the west, coming together and bombing out just south of the Maritimes Thursday night. So deteriorating conditions over the next 24 hours. As the storm tracks up towards Newfoundland, we're going to see very cold temperatures wrap in behind. So first you have to get through the snow and the winds. If you've been left without power by the time we hit the weekend, this is going to be followed by that deep freeze once again for the East Coast, Diane.
Okay, but this weather bomb is incoming, as you're describing it. Is it related in any way to this cold snap that's been really hanging over most of the country since Christmas?
Yes, you're right. This weather bomb is getting some of its most potent fuel from this polar vortex or this deep freeze across the east. Let me show you what the current temperatures look like right now. We've still got that Arctic air mass hanging across much of central Canada. It retreated slightly over the past day, but it's set to move back down across Ontario and Quebec. The jet stream has been a major player. Basically, we've got this Arctic air that always sits around the poles, but with this undulating jet stream, that's allowed that Arctic air to move down across the country, and this jet stream is also acting as a conveyor belt for that East Coast storm. So it's not only bringing in the cold air, but bringing up that storm from the south. Here's another look at that Arctic air mass or the polar vortex, usually hanging around the north, but it's been allowed to slide down across much of North America, and we're not done with it yet. This Arctic air mass is going to continue to push into Ontario and Quebec for the next couple of days. Your temperatures are plunging back down to minus 30s. And then again, this is fuel for that weather bomb. And if you're watching from Western Canada, you are not out of the woods yet. As I take you through the weekend into early next week, a fresh surge of that polar vortex is expected to move across the prairies. So it is going to be very cold in the next 10 days for everyone across the country. But certainly, Diane, the next big story is this weather bomb hitting the East Coast starting tomorrow morning.
It's giving me a chill just listening to you, Johanna. Thanks very much for that. That's CBC News meteorologist Johanna Wagstaffe.